What's hot and what's not in the automotive world? We're going to answer that question. We're looking at auctions. We are making predictions. This is Bid Nerds, and the bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. Yes, it is. Welcome, everyone. We are live with Bid Nerds. My name is John Polnick. We're coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas, as well as my partner way over on the far side of the screen. That's Michael Deeb. And tonight we got a special guest. Who's with us tonight, Michael Deeb?
JP, and to the Nerd Herd, please give a warm welcome to Mr. John Ficarra. You may remember him from VinWiki. Previously of VinWiki, you can now find him running his own company called Ficarra Classics at ficarraclassics.com. A historian, an author, a producer, and an all-around cool guy. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Absolutely. The Nerd Herd is already excited to see your face. See, we always surprise everybody at the last second who the guest is going to be, and they're like, oh, we have a real expert? What are we going to do? They don't know how to handle that, man. You're going to freak out at the Nerd Herd. And big shout out and welcome to said Nerd Herd. That's the folks who are hanging out in the live chat right now. If you are new to this show, if you don't know what we do, we look at and analyze listings from Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, P-Car Market, and more. We make our predictions based on those listings, and you can play along to see if you're better than the experts at making those predictions. Usually, you probably have a pretty good shot at beating our bids, but tonight, I don't know, we have a real expert. Let's get to it. We always start off every episode by reconciling the predictions that we made on the last episode. So what was the first car we had on the list? Michael Deeb.
All right, JP, we're going to circle right back to our 2008 Mercedes-Benz CLK AMG Black Series that ran recently by DJM Investments out of Costa Mesa, California on Bring a Trailer. JP, we have been covering quite a few of these cars ever since our friends at OTS and Company bought one and took it to Arkansas and did a manual swap. I was obsessed with this car when it came out. My love affair, my crush for it kind of waned. But then when I found out she could go to the gym and get a manual transmission with all Mercedes parts, I can't stop staring at her and thinking about her again. John, this one is more special than all the ones we've ever seen because it only has 13,000 miles from new, and it happens to be a very, very rare Black Series shade of Arctic white paint. So in exceptional condition, but I love the folks down at DJM Investments, but this is a poor presentation having shot the car inside their showroom. This car deserves the romance. Put the car on the road, put the car out in the public, put the car out in a park. For God's sake, break Haggerty's rule and park the car on a lawn and shoot it, but don't shoot it in a showroom. I just don't think that works. Would that ultimately hold back the potential high value for this car? So JP, without further ado, we found out that our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price for one of the CLK AMG Black Series in the secondary market is $124,000. For the reasons I stated, excellent condition, low mileage, and the rare shade of Arctic white, I thought this car would truly ring the bell at $163,000. You, ever the bearish one, took the under. JP, your bid was $150,063. And Frank joined us as a third nerd. Frank Harrington the fourth, formerly of Cars and Bids, and our dear friend. Frank joined us as third nerd on the last show. His bid, splitting the difference between us, but closer to mine, at $160,000 even. So, John, we're going to throw you right to the fire. Welcome to the show. This is kind of how we do it. You get to look at two pictures, and then basically like Karnak, the whatever Johnny Carson used to do. Hold up your head, just guess. Yeah. We all like the car. 124,000. Yeah, these cars with 40 and 50,000 miles are bringing still $1.25. But this one's low miles and white paint. We're all above 150. Ever driven a Black Series? Do you like the car? And give us a number for it.
I do like them. I've driven them. I've only driven them with the automatic. I think a manual swap on this would be phenomenal.
Amazing.
These pictures are awful. I mean,
Right?
I wouldn't present a Camry like this. This is dreadful. I mean, it's such a magnificent car. And God, I wish they had some video with some audio, because it's the engine, it's the sound of this car that makes it so ferocious. But I don't know how much they're moving right now. This isn't my cars that I'm expert in are pre-OBD2 cars. So the newer stuff, I lean on my experts for that. But the number that just came to mind is I'm going to be under both of you, just because I'm even more bearish. I came in like 143. I'm going to guess.
Not bad. And I think with a few more miles, or if it was the same miles but maybe black or silver, your number would be a little bit closer.
But 13 is still high mileage when you get to some of these cars that have 6, when you find the real low mileage cars.
Absolutely. But these cars are still selling well, and the super low ones are pushing even closer to 200. This car still did very well. John, JP, our car hammered for $155,000 where it sold on 25 bids. JP, I would just be the first to say that result doesn't raise an eyebrow for me at all. The car ticks all the right boxes. It's a model that's held its value really well. These are about $100,000 brand new, or maybe a little bit more. So for this car to bring over sticker with that colorway and that fair miles, I think that's a very fair price. Well sold and well bought. However, I'm going to predict, because I get to be Miss Chloe every once in a while, JP's going to say these fools left $15,000 on the table if they should have made some great photos in the golden hour or whatever. Get that car outside. So JP, did I steal your take or what?
Yeah, pretty much. Shout out to the Nerd Herd. We got Shiny Fenders, got a Yahtzee on the last episode for this car. So that was that's where the good bidding is happening over there in the Nerd Herd. So good job, you guys. Look, yeah, this car this is a flip. This is an opportunity. Somebody could have snatched this car, clean it up, actually give it a real detail. I mean, some of these pictures, you can see that they're like they didn't even detail the dang thing. This is a $150,000, $200,000 car, and they're like, I love it. John's getting right into the spirit of this thing. This is how you sell a Camry on Marketplace. Total fail on the seller's point. I will say that the seller, like my partner, did an excellent job with his soft skills and his commenting with the auction. In the comment section on this car was a lot of chatter, a lot of dumb chatter. There were comments after comments after comments, a whole huge thread. There was like a lot of drama about paint being on the rivets of the fender bolts, and there was all this speculation that that this car had been repainted and that paint wasn't right, and it was just like getting exhausting. And somehow the seller didn't freak the F out like I would have and just told everyone they were idiots. But it was settled. The guy gave a very good answer, something about the galvanization of the, I don't know, who cares? Go read the comments if you want to get into the nitty gritty of the bolts. But it really did get into the weeds on that one. So congrats that this car actually made it across the sale block at the end and did actually get sold. So I don't know. What do you think of that result, John?
I think, they got fair money for it, but I do think if they presented it correctly, and if this was at an auction in Monterey and people were drinking and being yelled at, I think, yeah, it could have punched probably a lot over that. It would probably hit over in the 60s or 70s. Yeah. But it's again, it looks like it's in somebody's living room, and it looks dreadful. And it's also, low mileage doesn't inherently mean that it's a good car. If it's been sitting and neglected, the tires are dead, who knows how. These AMG engines are not, they're not cheap to work on, and their maintenance is high. What kind of condition, how has it been kept over those years is a real important question.
Yeah. So the big question is this car hot, or was this just one of those situations where the seller failed to generate enough heat under the sale of this car? Because I think we're all kind of in agreement. This car should have gone for more, and I think the market is kind of hot on these, but this result was a little bit chilly. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and let's move on to the next car. What do we got, Deeb?
All right, JP, we're going to jump over to P-Car Market because they offered a 2012 Porsche Cayman R with just 7,000 miles on the odometer. This car is equipped with a 6-speed manual. It does have the carbon bucket seats, but it has steel brakes. The big news here, JP, is that this car was involved in an accident, and so we have previous repair work and paint work on the car. However, Cayman R's have really held their value despite a very volatile market over the last several years. Cayman R's have really held strong, and the cars with a manual, the cars with the buckets, and every once in a while we get a car with ceramic brakes, tend to do really, really well. The question is, would this car's previous accident history hold it back? And again, this car had been listed and basically sold earlier in the year for $65,000 on Bring a Trailer. So JP, it came back to P-Car Market, and we wondered aloud, would they do better than the $65,000 that the seller paid for the car this calendar year on the obviously more superior platform? JP, I didn't think it would. My bid reflecting that I didn't think he'd get his $65,000 back. I came in at $59,872, $59872, which is what this car is. JP, you went straight for the same result at $65,000, and Frank Harrington went $1,000 over both of us. He went up to $66,000. So John, Cayman R, manual, low miles, but some accident history. It is also its own worst comp, having run earlier this year. And now it's been entrusted to the dinglings over in Oyster Bay, New York, who run P-Car Market. What do you think? Like, have you driven one of these? And what do you think this car might have hammered for? Would it do better or worse, essentially, than the last run?
Well, again, we've got some of the worst pictures I've seen from a professional company, which could, this car could be presented a lot better than it was. But, if it's a branded title car, usually you're going to knock, 20-40% off if it's a branded title. Depends on what kind of damage it had.
I hate to interrupt, but let's be very clear. This is not a branded title. This is just an accident on the Carfax, correct, Deeb?
Oh, it's just a regular accident? Okay, so it's not like it was rebuilt or something.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's not too bad.
Yeah.
And, somebody's going to get something wrong in a car like that who doesn't know how to drive it, so that's to be expected. And how it was fixed. You don't want to eyeball it. But they're good cars. Really, I think this is what the 911 should be. Not the bloated, overweight GT it is right now. Mm-hmm. These are great cars. They're smaller, they're lightweight, they're nimble, they're mid-engine. But I'm going to say those photos, P-Car Market's limited reach, he didn't hit 65. I'll say 62.
62. So you're in the same boat as the rest of us, and we're all going to eat a little bit of crow on the show tonight because, JP, did you see this result? $72,500 where it sold on 45 bids. So, John, that car is worth $72,500 because that's what somebody's willing to pay for it. Man,
not to
me.
You
agree with that?
Not to me. I would pay 72. I'd put my 72 somewhere a lot better than that. That's for sure.
Well, that's interesting because look, how many miles does this car have on it? This thing
7,000.
only has 7,000 miles on it.
Oh, okay. Did you say that earlier? I didn't hear 7,000 miles. It has 7,000 miles on it. Okay, I would have changed my number. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculously low mileage. That's crazy.
Yeah. On a car that is just fantastic to drive. I think these are one of the best driving cars Porsche has ever made of any generation. Anyone can get into one of these and just be a superhero. Look, the thing is, these cars are hot. This is absolutely what's hot right now. The young timers and folks who are looking for cars that they can actually get into and drive and enjoy 3 pedals instead of the stupid PDK nonsense that is that Porsches are plagued with now. Look, right? And on top of that, one of these went for on BAT with 1,900 miles. Who's that jerk that didn't drive that car? 1,900 miles. That car went for 93.5. So I think it's pretty safe to say that this is a very hot car. The platform, not so much, because I think if this thing went back on BAT, probably bring another 10 grand. What say you, John? I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's more money possibly had to be better presented and really pushing the 7,000 miles. And just as a side note, I prefer the steel brakes over the ceramic as a driver any day of the week. Not to just not because they're, as they are, super expensive to replace, but the performance advantage on everyday driving is almost negligible. So if you're just daily driving and hooning it around your neighborhood, you don't need the ceramics. This is a good car.
Fantastic. Sounds like you're in agreement. All right. What do you guys think of the results of that CLK? Is it hot? I'm sorry, not the CLK, the Cayman. I'm still thinking about that CLK. I want to put a manual swap in that bad boy. This next car, definitely not so hot, or at least that's my opinion. It'll be interesting to see what our guest says about this next one. What do we got, Deeb?
All right, JP, I'm going to ask John to feast his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
On our 1969 Lotus Europa S2. The only thing missing is an OBD sensor, and this will be so in your wheelhouse. Carnival red, mid-mounted, Renault-sourced 4-cylinder with a 4-speed manual. This car is in fair condition. It was listed by our very good friend, Chris Carbine of Carbine Motor Cars out of New Orleans, Louisiana. The car is featured on Cars and Bids. And as Cars and Bids, John, has just recently opened up their parameters to start featuring older cars that predate, basically the 80s. So this is kind of uncharted territory for Cars and Bids as they continue to grow and expand their platform's audience and their registered biddings. They are now starting to sell very interesting old cars like this. The question we're going to have, no matter what the result is, would a car like this have done better on a bigger channel like Bring a Trailer? So, JP, we checked in with our friends at Classic.com, and they tell us that the average selling price of a Europa S2 is approximately a whopping and hard to believe $24,000. I thought this car would fall considerably short of that mark. My bid, $17,777. JP, you went further down than I did. $16,000 was your bid. And Frank Harrington, our dear friend, joined us as third nerd on the last show. His bid was above us at $19,250. So, John, what are your impressions of the Europa S2? Would it be better with an S2000 motor, or is it perfect just the way it is? And then give us a bid for this, I mean, it's just a fair condition, vintage British car. Does it have any value left at all? I mean, it's so hard to find people to work on these, to find parts for these. And the folks that did treasure them are dying off. This car is suffering the same fate of a lot of the cars that boomers like. This one just happens to be the guy that had European taste and sensibility. But again, values are falling off a cliff. Where are you at on the Europa S2?
The Europa is such a great car, the little bread van, and it's overlooked because they didn't import a whole lot of them to the United States. And when they did, people didn't like them very much. But I've driven a few of these, and they drive like little go-karts. They're a hoot, and they make a great sound. There's nothing to them. I'm 6'3". I don't fit really great inside of it. This looks like a decent driver. I trying to look at the pictures, how many just chips in the paint, and it's going to be interesting to. When looking at these, you got to look really close to see if there's any cracks in them. How much damage they have, what kind of condition the motor's in. But a decent one should bring around 20 grand if it's a nice car. And I'm seeing this is a tough one. The engine doesn't look too bad. It's relatively clean. I'm gonna be generous to this person and say 20,000.
Yeah, and a seller would have loved you for that. So two interesting numbers to unpack as we go over this. JP, the car only hammered for $8,500. Where it's sold on just 7 bids. So again, JP,
I would have bought it for that.
Would this car have brought more money on Bring a Trailer? I'll give you my answer just so you don't embarrass yourself with yours. Hell yeah, it would have brought more money on Bring a Trailer. And it's a bummer. So the real question is, would this guy be wise to take it, shine it up a little bit, put a new set of tires on it, and rerun it himself? Or does he take it out and just say, hey, I ripped this car for $8,000 and I'm not buried in it, so you can just go out and enjoy it? JP, what do you think? How much is left on the table in your opinion? I think you would have got at least your number 16 for it, right?
I don't know. Hard to say. There's just not that much an audience for this car. I mean, it's basically our guest and two other guys, and and they both got to be watching BAT at the same time. I think the seller, unless they were really hard up for, I think the seller was smart to just take the money and run. Could they have gotten another $2, $3, $4, $5,000 out of it? I don't know.
Perhaps.
Maybe. How much of a pain in their butt would that have been? Look, it's just sometimes you cut your losses. These are great little cars, but no one knows what the heck the darn thing is, except for boomers and age and Gen Xers like us. Young timers, the guys who are really moving this market right now, are not aware of this thing, and unfortunately, they don't have the experience of having driven one and enjoying one in the past. So it's going to be a tough sell. It doesn't exactly look all that great either. But hey, whoever got it got a great deal, and they're going to have a great lot of fun. What do you guys think of the results of this Lotus? Let's move on from this one. We got one more to cover before we get to new predictions. I'm itching to get to the new predictions because we got an expert. Let's get to it. What's the next car?
All right, John, you're going to love this one too. Feast your eyes on this 1974 Volkswagen Brasilia that ran no reserve on Bring a Trailer just the other day. I have to admit, as much as I love Volkswagens and I grew up with my mom standing on the passenger seat of her 1967 Beetle, I'm just not familiar with the Brasilia at all. And I am head over heels in love with the shape of this car. Miss me with the ragtop roof, even though JP says it makes the Brasilia even more fun. But I just dig that this thing is... It exists. And again, I get that it's got all the integrity of a box of tissue, but man, those are some pretty lines. I cannot believe this car did not take off. They built Beetles forever, and this car got pushed aside. I love it. I think it's a very attractive car, and it seems like it'd be absolutely practical if you were growing up in the 70s and had to go to high school or college. This would be such a cool car to drive. Out of Colorado Springs, there's pictures of when the guy acquired it. You can see he did a light refreshing of the car, and I just think it looks great. Friends at Classic.com tell us that Brasilias, if they're pretty good, are going to bring about $11,000. I thought this one would do better than that. My number, $12,000. JP, my partner ever, the pragmatic one, his bid, $9,999. And Frank Harrington III, we finally tripped him up. He was all in on this car. He went to $13,500. So, John, any experience with the Brasilia? What do you think of this one? And put a number on it. Running no reserve.
No idea. Yeah. It's cool as hell looking. It's like a rear-engined Rabbit. It's like a little mini shooting brake. I love it. I think I've never seen one in real life. That's cool.
It's a Renault R5 Turbo without the turbo.
Without any hope in hell. Look at that little guy.
Yeah.
I love it. It's but again, I think this would definitely, if the Europa suffered from nobody knowing what the heck it was, then this will as well.
Let that guide you.
I don't know, man. It's like trying to sell an SP or something like that. It's $8,000. I don't know. I don't even know what engine's in it, but I'm throwing 8 at it.
You would have won your first. Hand at Bring It. What do we call it? Bid Nerds. I think the name of the show is Bid Nerds. Our car hammered for $7,000, where it sold on 19 bids. JP, was that well bought?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, look, this is rinse and repeat on the last car, the Lotus. It's just like John said, nobody knows what it is. Nobody's going to buy it. There's no one nostalgic for this thing. In the 70s when this car came out, 1974, this thing was probably on the showroom floor at the same time Rabbits were on the floor. And, in the 70s, it was all about front-wheel drive. That was a big deal. That's what people wanted back then. So there was little or no chance that this car ever would have come. It's not this car isn't about coming across the ocean and coming onto our shores. It's getting this car through the Darien Gap, because it has to come up from South America. I mean, it's just like they're not getting this in the northern continent.
Love.
It's
love.
neat. It's neat, but it's not worth anything. What do you guys think of the results of this little Brasilia? John, I'll give you a last word and we'll move on.
Yeah, so it applies to this car and the Europa. If I were selling these cars, I wouldn't sell them in the U.S. market. You can only sell these cars where people have emotions about them. Like I had a 66 Maserati Quattroporte. And in the United States, nobody knows what the heck it is. and here it was worth like 10 grand. So I advertised it in Europe on the European sites, and I got $45,000 for it. So it's like what people are looking for in Europe are rust-free versions of the cars that they really like, and they all think that if they come from the United States, they're rust-free, although that's a huge mistake. But if you try to move one of these cars, you probably can double your money at these low numbers if you try to sell in Europe.
That probably it would be a pretty good, formula for the Lotus. I don't know so much on the Volkswagen because I don't think they even had these in in Europe, right? These are strictly South American cars, I think.
I think there's more nerds for this kind of stuff in Europe than there are in the U.S. who'd be like, they would jump all over that.
Yeah, nobody has any money in Europe. All right, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. We're going to take a quick break. We've got real predictions coming up right after this. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair.
Hey guys, Vegas Auto Fest, presented by Lamborghini Las Vegas and Audi Henderson, is the most Vegas car show of the year. And it's happening at Red Rock Country Club, September 13th. Cars, food, music, showgirls, and amazing prizes. Tickets start at just $20. Kids under 16 are free.
See you at Vegas Auto Fest 2025.
Vegas Auto Fest is September 13th at the Red Rock Country Club, presented by Lamborghini Las Vegas and Audi Henderson.
Vegas Auto Fest, the drivers are coming.
All right, John, what do we got to do to get you to come out to Vegas and spend some time with us at the Vegas Auto Fest? Let's do it.
He
Come
can
on,
drive
that
there.
Europa.
He can drive there, JP. He's already in Nevada. Well, he's in Nevada City, which I think is
Nevada
California.
City. Yeah, 8 hours or so. I can get down there.
Easy
Yeah.
peasy. All right. I've got some podium tickets just for you if you make the trip. Have you gotten your tickets to Vegas Auto Fest yet? If you haven't, get on it. Come on, man. Make it happen. We want to see you here in Vegas in just a couple of weeks. We're shipping up to make the best car show of the year in Las Vegas, as always. This will be our 7th year. We were talking about this afternoon. Really proud of what we've done over there with my partner, Chef William. So make your plans today. Okay. You know what? Before we get to predictions, I gotta plug some merch, right? We've got the Bid Nerds hats, we've got the Bid Nerds t-shirts here. I gotta do the little thing on the button and go to the actual website. Check it out. We got merch. It's in the description below if you want hats, t-shirts. We even got dad hats for you, for the boomers out there. And then we've got the old school Defoscination posters if you want to dress up your office or home, make it look a little extra cool. Get that Defoscination and Bid Nerd swag. Let's make that stuff happen. All right, let's get to predictions. I'm excited about the cars on the list tonight, and I'm extra excited to get John's opinion on what he thinks these cars will go for, because these are some badass rides. What's the first car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP. The car that I fell in love with, the poster that was on my wall when I was in high school in 1985 to 1988, is basically this car here. Basically, what you're seeing is a 1988 Ferrari 328 GTB that has been treated to a pretty badass 288 GTO body kit. And so somebody has done, they drank the Kool-Aid, they did the entire thing. It's a GTB to begin with, and then they did the 16-inch HR wheels that really sort of finish off the car. And at first glance, you would be forgiven for believing that that is a real GTO, which is now between $3 and $5 million, depending on which one you find at which auction. A 328 GTB, on the other hand, is only about $130,000 equation. So you can easily put another $130,000 into this and be way ahead of the game. The difference, of course, is that the 328 is normally aspirated and only makes about 260 horsepower. But this car, again, JP, we've seen kit cars that just, one look at them and you're like, oh, what a piece of garbage. But this car, having studied the lines my entire life, this car is really faithfully done. It's a shame, and this is the third car that this panel has covered tonight that has really, really piss poor assets. They shot this car in the shop. What is wrong with you? You're trying to fake a $3 million car, take it out in front, park it in front of a museum or a 200-year-old building, or go out to a park someplace. I don't understand the thinking behind the marketing of a car especially when it's so niche and so obscure to begin with, and now you're going to do sort of a half-assed job photographing it and literally go, I don't understand why it didn't bring $250,000. I'm like, well, I'll tell you why it didn't even break 100, you moron. So I dig the car. I dig the effort in constructing the car, even though those little detail images show that the car has already been chipped up and all that sort of thing. That stuff doesn't bother me. What bothers me is that you have a really cool car, something that's really could be exceptional, and you treat it like it's anything else. And that to me is a swing and a miss. So JP, this one is definitely going to stay in the park. But what are your feelings about, I mean, look, you've owned more 356 replicas than anybody I know, all the other people I know that have owned them combined. And so this is the replica that appeals to your partner. I would absolutely be a fool and fall in love with this stupid car, but man, it just gets me going. And yet I'm so frustrated by the presentation. There's a 240Z and a boat in the background. What are you doing? John, JP, take it away, JP.
Yeah, I don't put this in the same, like calling this a kit car just doesn't seem fair. I mean, it's not a kit car. A kit, you know, the 356s are fun to get, but let's be honest, they're just Volkswagens, or, you know, maybe at best they're a tube frame or something like that. At least this is built on an actual Ferrari, so it's really kind of like is this any different than a 911 that's backdated to make it look like something else? I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool as hell. You know, does it make sense to spend a lot of money on it, or more money than what the base 328 is actually worth? Look, the top three selling cars, or the top three cars that brought the most money at Monterey just a couple of weeks ago were classic Ferraris. The F50, how much did the F50 go for? Like $9 million.
Yeah.
And then they had an F40, and it wasn't just a regular F40. Those are usually worth less, but it was an LM, so I think that went for like $11 million. And then they had the SP3. It was that thing was $26 million. Yeah. So I mean, your rare air Ferraris are bringing ridiculous, obscene, absurd amount of unobtainium money. You can go and drive something like this. It's not going to cost you millions of dollars. John, what do you think of the car? We're not ready for bids yet, but what do you think of this thing? And Chris Carbine is actually mentioning in the comments, the Nerd Herd is always looking out, that this is a salvage title car, unlike the car we were talking about at the earlier that just had an accident. This is a salvage car. John, what do you think?
I mean, I guess it's a good use for a smashed up Ferrari to throw this on here. But I've dealt with, so when I did film cars in New York, we bought for Top Gear a 308 bodied Fiero, right? And I was like, what a value. And it was, I think we bought it for like $7,000. And then for Car Trek a few years ago, we had a 308 Tavares had, and it had kind of a GTO kit on it. And it was a complete roach, and it was like $20,000. So people sent, I looked at this today. People sent this to me. They're like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, it's already at $90,000, which shocked me. So a GTO, when people make recreations of cars, like you can get a D-type recreation. At least it has the same 6-cylinder in it that the D-type had in it. But this has a wheezy little V8, right? It's carrying extra weight. If they couldn't put a turbo on it, what was the point of this, of making a GTO clone? Throw some turbos on it, and I'd be excited about it. But the GTO is a stretched version of the 308, so the proportions of this aren't just right. It looks like a squashed GTO because it should have another 6 inches in the middle there. But it's cool, I guess, if you want to take it somewhere. But the hassle of sitting at a car show and explaining to people what the hell it was wouldn't be worth my time.
There's that. All right, Deeb, what's it going to bring?
All right, JP. So interesting stuff. I am aware of the fact that this car is a salvage title. And JP, you know, when it comes to resto mods for American cars, most of those donor trucks and muscle cars and stuff like that tend to be salvage titles because it's the cheapest starting point to have your metal. So I don't think that in my opinion, I don't think the salvage title is going to come into play here as far as holding back the value of this car. I think the presentation and just, you know, what the market will bear will be judged solely on its own, and the desire for having a 328 GTB with a body kit on it. Not that I don't think that the title is going to have a heavy influence in the car. Our car is sitting at $90,999, so basically $91,000. That comes to us, JP. Are you sitting down? It's already got 20 bids. The car does close tomorrow, and Classic.com tells us that a standard 328 GTB is $136,000 if it's not a salvage title. If it's just a good quality average car, it's going to bring $136,000 in the secondary market. JP, despite all of our misgivings for this car and the whole concept of its existence, I still think that looking at a GTO is a rare enough experience that some fool who wants to pretend will spend a lot more than you think. I'm going to go all in on this car. I think it'll hammer for $175,288. I know. Catch your breath, because we're going to come to you for a bid too. The question is whether or not this guy will take that money. I'm not sure at 175 that it sells. I'd like to think that Bring a Trailer does a better job of filtering the morality of it all, but we'll see. 175,288 to you, JP. I dare you to go over. And then the question I want to ask you, JP, is when you give us our bid, do you think it sells at your number?
So, I mean, the first thing you do if you are the person that buys this car, I think what makes it okay to own this and drive it around is you've got, like, you show up, you hand the guy his money, he hands you the title, you put it in your pocket, and without taking your eyes off of his, like, look him right in the eye, and then reach down with a screwdriver and go tink and pop that GTO badge off of it. I think that redeems you, and it kind of tells the guy, bad Ferrari owner. Shouldn't have done that.
That's funny.
I think this car, I think that Ferrari, a 328 GTB, if Classic is saying they're going for about $136, I think that this body kit and making it fun and cool and interesting overcomes the fact that it is a salvage, but I don't think it's going to bring enough extra value to get it past that. I'm going to say 136, and someone's going to have a neat car to drive around, take that badge off, and don't embarrass yourself. As long as you're not trying to convince people that it's the real thing, I think it's fine to drive something like this. John, what do you think?
This is such a weird outlier. The fact that it's already at 91 to me is like, I thought like, oh, that's probably the end right there. But I think it does. I think it does move some more tomorrow. I don't think it doubles in price. No way.
Oh yeah,
that's not uncommon on BAT. It usually happens on the last day. It doubles from whatever it was the day before.
The last 20 minutes, right? Everything goes berserk, and you have a war between two morons. One's drinking his Chardonnay on one coast, and the other one's drinking his whatever on the other, and they're butting heads over dumb prices. But I can't, whether or not it makes this number or anything, I can't, my soul won't allow me to say this is worth more than a stock car. So yeah. I'm going to say 135, right under the 136. I don't think it goes for that. I think it goes for 117.5, but I'm going to give it some legs for the morons out there at 135.
You're going to hedge your bet just to play the game, and that's how we do it here on the Bid Nerds. It's a good bid, good play. All right, this guy is he's beating us at our own game, Deeb. What are we doing?
Yeah, yeah, JP. So, John, for context, I always go first, and occasionally JP will park like right underneath me or right above me and take all the real estate for the bidding above or below me. Now he knows what that feels like. JP, that's what that feels like. John is up in Nevada City, and I can tell he's playing by mountain rules. Not bad. JP, are we ready to jump into the next car?
Let's do it. What do we got?
All right, John. Here we go. So I am currently representing for one of my clients a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon X 4xe. This is one of those 375 horsepower plug-in hybrids with the long Rubicon chassis, all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. This vehicle is unmodified. It basically presents as a brand new car. It smells new inside, JP. No food, no smoking, no kids, no nothing. The car is basically immaculate. Just 16,300 miles, from new. It's on a clean Montana title. The car is located here with me. It's about 8 feet away from me behind that wall here in San Rafael, California. JP, it was really fun. In the middle of the listing, the owner of the car handed me the accessory mirrors. And I was like, what are these for? I'm such not the Jeep guy. So I had to watch a YouTube video, JP, and learn how to take the doors off and unplug everything. So we took the doors off, took the rear windows out, opened up that Sky One Touch, rag top thing. The roofs on these don't come because of that electric top, but with the doors and the windows off and the top open, it's pretty badass. And so I kind of dig this thing. I don't know. I would want to hang on to it for long term. I sure as hell wouldn't want to own any kind of hybrid car that wasn't covered under a strict manufacturer warranty. But for the next couple of years, because the warranties on these are pretty long, this would be a pretty good place. Like, I wouldn't mind sending my kid to college in something like this. You know what I mean? So JP, you know way more about these. You're from the Great Lakes up there in Seattle, Snohomish and the Bro Dozers. What do you make of one of these? Because I know you were saying this drivetrain with all that torque, 400 plus torque, 375 horse. If that drivetrain were on the smaller platform, you think Jeep would really be onto something. Does this car with the longer platform not get your attention? I confirm for you that this car cruises at 80 miles an hour. Does that change your mind? What do you think?
I think there was a misunderstanding there, because that I didn't say that on the smaller version. Look, all the Wranglers, whether it's when the four-door Wrangler came out in, what was it, 07 in the JK version, these were extremely popular, and they owned the market. No one else was competing with Jeep for over a decade. When you came here to Vegas and went to SEMA, they had 5 big pavilions full of aftermarket stuff for different vehicles, right, from all over the world. One single pavilion was devoted to one car, the Jeep Wrangler. It was, I mean, these are just so modified. There's so many different parts and things that you could get for them. But the big problem with Wranglers has always been that they were crappy, underpowered cars. They were great for off-road. They were great for camping. They were great for all the things that people like them for, but they were terrible to go anywhere. If you had to get on the freeway to get to the ski resort or to get to the campsite, it sucked, right? So that's why G-Wagons are so popular, because they have that same kind of boxy look, but they actually have some power to it. It wasn't until Bronco and Ford finally said, we're going to actually take some of this lunch, and they did that. But look, so for this vehicle to have almost 400 horsepower solves that problem. The downside is that it would make sense to have this powertrain in a base Jeep, not necessarily the two-door version, but just the version that isn't specifically made for off-roading and overlanding, which is what the Rubicon is all about. The Rubicon has front and rear diff locks. This vehicle is made to go off-road and go fjord through a river and do all of those things. Who wants to do that with an electric motor in there? It's just, you're adding so much complexity to, there's just no use case for a hybrid version of the Rubicon. For a sport, maybe, but what the hell were they thinking? It's a neat rig, and it's going to look great in the mall parking lot. John, what's your opinion of one of these?
What do you think of these great assets?
I'm not a Jeep guy. Back in the Jurassic era when these were designed, I follow the evolutionary trail of, I went with the Land Rover solution rather than the Jeep solution to this. I'd rather have a Defender than a Jeep any day. But there's just no room inside of them. They don't handle well. They don't drive terribly well. You can't make a vehicle that's great off-road, great on-road. It's impossible. And the Jeep fails at it all day long. And people are going to hate me for this. But if you need an entire pavilion of extra parts for a vehicle, then you're advertising that your vehicle's no good. That you're selling somebody that's...
Hold on, time out.
Then you're like, I'm selling you something that needs to be modified. It's just like Harley Davidson, right? The two of them. They sell a brand. They sell an image. They sell something you park in the parking lot. And if you really want to go do something with it, you got to invest another $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 into it.
Legos! So it's Legos, man. It's Legos for grown-ass adults. It's dudes I bought this space Jeep, and I get a room, and I get a bigger wheel, and there, and they just like, it's Legos for adults. Come on, man.
It's a waste of money. And when you're done with your Legos, what do? You put them in the closet and you forget about them. It's the same thing you should do with this thing. Just
Step
put
on
it
it
in the
at 3
closet.
o'clock in the morning and
Yeah,
scream
like,
at your
I
children.
stepped on my Jeep. Yeah, no. This is like the cosplay of Jeeps. On top of that, when you have like the e-hybrid thing going on in a Jeep, this is just like two marketing guys arguing at night, drunk or high on cocaine or something. Like, I know what we need to do. We need to get this market with this market. We need the mall moms and the brodozer guys to breed together and create something like this. It's weird. I would never buy one in my life, and I probably made some Jeep enemies, but I don't understand it. I've rented them before, like in Hawaii, and on 45-mile-an-hour roads in Hawaii, they're fine. But my friend bought a brand new, when those came out, the 4-doors came out, he bought a brand new one, stock, and it was rubbish. So he added $10,000 worth of stuff to it, and it made it worse. And he kept going, because he was like, he wasn't sure if it wanted to be on, because he was driving it on the highway. But he's trying to turn it into an off-roader. I go, you drive on the highway every day. Why are you putting giant tires on this? And he's like, well, the steering's really vague and it's awful. I can't. I'm like, then buy a car.
Yeah.
Like, now the weekend Jeep guys, the CJs, the guys that go out there and do all the rock crawling and stuff. I love that. That's the kind of Jeep I'd have in a heartbeat. The old straight six Jeep, that was a machine that was capable of doing anything. I don't know about the
94
modern
YJ is where it's at. All right.
There you go. Okay.
All that said, what do we think this thing's going to bring? Michael Deeb, you go first.
All right, JP. So first of all,
Or are you recusing yourself?
I'll recuse myself, but I'll give you guys some numbers and prep you guys. I just want to tell the nerd herd, this is my very first listing, or will be transaction, on Cars and Bids. So if you have a minute, guys and gals out there, would love it if you drop a little note on the listing and just say, hey, you saw the car covered on the Bid Nerds. Anything you can say, any kind of engagement would be much appreciated, as, again, we're trying to sort of build the brand as we migrate over and start working with Cars and Bids and take advantage of all the effort they're putting forward to house good listings and do a good job. So thank you for that. JP, this car, believe it or not, this car had an MSRP last year, 2024, of $77,000. $77,000. Our car has just 16,000 miles on it. Its in-service date was July of 23. So despite being a 24, it does at least have a long warranty. So there's plenty of time left on the warranty. But this car was sold in the summer. So it's essentially 2 years old, even though it only looks like it's 7 years old in dog years. Hope I didn't confuse you all. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that a 2024 Rubicon or whatever the nomenclature is for the car is still a $63,000 conversation in the secondary market. But I will go out and say that is primarily for the versions of this car that have the Hemi naturally aspirated big V8 and not so much for the 4XE. And Classic.com doesn't have a distinction between those two drivetrains. Certainly, we would love for this car to bring 63, but I'm not even sure that our seller bought the car for 63, if you understand how Stellantis does business since COVID. So, JP, I will recuse myself from bidding, but I will let you know that as I've spoken to you, we got a $30,000 bid on day one, and we've had crickets until today. The car closes tomorrow. It is currently sitting at $32,000 on 6 bids. This lot will close at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Please do join us for the closing of this one. JP, I'll stay out of it because it's my car and my listing. But, John, what do you think this car will bring at Hammer? JP, I should say. Sorry, I keep calling John.
Yeah, it's a little confusing tonight. Look, I think this car is going to do all right. As much as we're all kind of panning the thing, it is a very nice brand new Rubicon, and there is a market for those. But there are no shortage of them. You can go to any Stellantis dealership across the country. There's probably a 200 to 300 day supply of these things, brand spanking new in the brand new market. So, how big a discount do you want from a brand new one versus getting one that's only got a few miles on it? I'm gonna say I'm gonna go $52,000 and hand it on to John. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't mean to burn your car down, Michael. But
It's okay. I'm not
It's
holding
not
the title.
his car.
Just
He's
hold the keys.
representing.
I know, but, you're trying to do your job and make some money, and right. But like, I mean, I would prefer for that kind of money, I could buy a 10-year-old Cayenne Turbo and destroy this thing. But there's going to be somebody who likes it. I think the yellow. I don't know if that's going to be super appealing. There's a lot of weird things about this thing. A
lot.
Honestly, I was like, it was 70 new, so 35. Like that was my initial reaction. I'm like, yeah, I'll give you half price for that. But it's probably low 50s. I think I have to agree with JP. Probably I think. I can't see it making 60. I wouldn't pay 60 for it. If it was 70 new and they have, if they've got a year's worth of supply and it's a strange and odd animal, then yeah, I'm kind of right, like 50, 52. But I don't know anything about the new
Give
car
us a
market.
number. Just throw a number at that. Higher or lower than me.
51,995.
Nice.
There you go.
Right there. That's how you do it. Look, there's probably $15,000 in trunk money at a minimum if you go into the dealership right now. So if it's a $70,000 car, they're probably discounting. You can probably roll into a dealership and get a brand spanking new one for $65,000 before you start negotiating from there. So. But anyways, let us know what you guys think of this Rubicon. I think if one thing that we're going to say is it's listed beautifully. It looks as good as it's going to look. And these high-vis colors are the color that you want for a true off-road vehicle, because when you tumble down the ravine, they can find you from a helicopter. And that's not even a joke. That's legit why they've always been that color.
Over here.
Yeah. So, I think this thing will surprise us in the end, because I bet there's some people looking at it going, hey, this is a great opportunity to basically get a brand spanking new vehicle with a warranty and all those things. So good luck to you, my partner. And make sure you go on there and write a comment.
The audience on the listing that have been watching the Cars and Bids have essentially confirmed that the paint job, it's called high velocity clear coat, apparently is rare, and I think it was just for 1 year. I don't know if that's true or not, because I'm not a Jeep guy, but there you go. Thanks you guys for letting me shamelessly plug that listing.
Speaking of high velocity,
JP,
we need to pick it up because we are almost done with the show and we still got 3 cars. So let's go. What's the next one on the list? Today.
All right, JP, there is a 2003 Porsche 911 Turbo Coupe with an X50 package and a manual transmission that is currently running out of Costa Mesa, California on Bring a Trailer, showing just 53,000 miles from new. JP, I like this car because it's polar silver manual and it's got black leather. It is the supple leather, which is kind of a bummer. But man, polar silver, X50, and it looks like it's got ceramics to boot. This is a really nice spec'd car, and it's hard to believe that this much car and this much value can be had for very little money. So, JP, I'm going to run right into the numbers. Our car is currently sitting at $64,496, and it comes to us by way of 21 bids. So there's good action on this car, and this car does close tomorrow. Our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price for a 996 Turbo with a manual is only $66,000, and I think we made it perfectly clear our car is basically right there now. I think it'll get, essentially, JP, 50% more money. So my bid to you is $99,000 on the 996 Coupe with a manual X50 and ceramics in polar silver. What a color. JP, where are you at on this car? 99 grand to you. Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, we started out the show asking what's hot and what's not. This is definitely the kind of thing that's really hot right now. 50-something thousand miles on this car. It looks like it's got 20. This is a really, really well-represented car that looks like a really darn nice car. The folks with that CLK that we covered at the top of the show, the guy with the Cayman R, the guy with the fake GTO Ferrari, they could all take a lesson off of this listing. This is how you make something look special. Pay a photographer to do the work. They are worth the money. You're leaving thousands and thousands of dollars on the table if you don't hire a professional like the Bid Nerds to do it for you. Look, I don't know if I'm as enthusiastic as you are. What was your number? 90 what?
99.
99. Yeah, I'm going to park it well under you there. I'm going to call it 91,996. I do think it breaks 90,000. The X51, the Porsche nerds really go crazy on that kind of stuff. John, what do you think?
I've been recommending these cars for the last 10 years to people as being like the next turbo to buy. And you could buy this exact car I almost bought 3 years ago for $45,000. So I can get, without the X package, you can get these for 55, 60 grand in really nice shape and decent mileage. The mileage is low. It really also depends. You got to go under the hood there and check the sticker and see if there's any other special wishes options on the car. Doesn't look like there are from the pictures. But if there's lots of special wishes stuff on there, then yeah, I would think it'd go for the 90s, but I don't think it gets that high. I'm going to go 82.5 on this.
82.5, very bearish on that one. We like your bid, John. That's a good guess. All right, JP, let's jump right over to a actually, do we have a minute to go back in time, or do we just want to do the new car?
Let's move on.
Okay, so the new car, we're going to look at a 1996 Alfa Romeo 155 with a V6 and a 5-speed manual. Our car is running no reserve out of Redmond, Washington. It is on a clean Washington title in the seller's name, and it's showing 119,000 kilometers from new. That's about 74,000 miles. JP, I've owned several Milanos and lots of other Alfas, several Alfettas and Spiders. Some of my favorite cars. I've always wanted a 155 because it was unobtainium. Now there's one here, and I'm just taking a closer look at it through the lens of this photographer, and I'm just not that impressed. It's a 2.5 liter Busso V6, so you know it's going to sound good. You know it's going to be lively, but this car is front-wheel drive, and the appointments from the seats and the dash and everything are just not doing anything at all to sing the praises of this romantic Italian I'm so in love with. So this car is a massive letdown, and I just I don't have any desire to pursue it. Where I thought a car like this would have kept me up at night trying to figure out how I could have gotten it on a California title, and now I'm just not that worried about it. So despite running no reserve, our car doesn't close for another 2 days. It's currently at $8,000 on just 2 bids, basically no action. JP, Classic.com tells us that 155 sell for $15,000 on average in the secondary market. I think this car will still double in value because it looks to be in decent shape, and somebody out there might pay for it. So I'm going to go 16 grand, but this car is not breaking 20,000, no chance in hell. And man, what a letdown, Alpha. That's such a bummer. I know this car was never brought to the States. I should clarify that. The reason why this is so important is because the 155 platform was never sold in the U.S. So this is a car that's had to come over on the 25-year exemption. But man, what a bummer to see it up close. It's just like, eh. So JP, 16 grand to you. It's at 8 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so good that Alpha left for a good, decade or more, and just stayed the hell out of America, because this is just nobody would have wanted this. They wouldn't have been able. They were smart to not try to sell this here. I'm going to park it under you. Where's it at now? What's the price that it's at now?
$8,000 now.
$8,000.
16.
I don't even know if this thing's going to break 10 grand. Who the hell even knows what this thing is? It's flashy red. I'm going to go 99,155. Wait a minute. No, is that right? No.
Nope.
Yeah. $9,155. That's what I'm going to give it.
Yep.
Hand it on to John.
Yep.
What do you think?
So how many miles are on this thing?
72,000.
72,000. So yeah, all right. They're cool. They did. Isn't this the same platform they built the Saab 9000 on? And there was like another. It was
no.
3 cars they built. That was the Milano.
That was the 164.
That was the 164. Okay. So It's a cool car. You can't get them. There's going to be some geek out there who wants it bad. I don't know. I'm going to be gracious and say 12 on it.
Good guess. You might get a Yahtzee on this one. That's probably the best guess yet. So there you go, JP. Do we want to cover that other car, or are we done with time?
If you can do it in a minute.
All right. So we covered that Alfa Giulietta Nürburgring car, and that car was on Bring a Trailer, and it failed to sell, JP. It failed to sell at $52,000 on Bring a Trailer. Well, that car reran on essentially it ran on Cars and Bids the other day with the exact same terrible assets in this like parking lot, And believe it or not, JP, the good folks at Cars and Bids, who have been working really hard to sell cars, they ran it no reserve and it sold for $60,000. So it brought $8,000 more with the same terrible assets on Cars and Bids. Well sold, and I still think that's well bought. $60,000 for a car with 2,300 miles and it's numbered. I know that doesn't mean much to you, but I think down the road that car will have a quantifiable value. Very well bought. But there you go, Cars and Bids got it done. JP, anything to add to that?
Nope, don't care. All right, John. Where can everyone find you on the interwebs? That's the thing with the email.
You can find me at Ficarra Classic. That's no S, just Ficarra Classic, like Coke Classic. FicarraClassic.com, Ficarra Classic on my YouTube channel, and Ficarra Classic on Instagram.
Awesome. Do that. Make sure you go buy yourself a t-shirt or a hat on our merch site. That's in our description below. John, thank you so much for joining us. And
thank you, John.
Sure hope to get you down here for Vegas Auto Fest. That's it for today. We will see you guys Sunday night. Bye.